Hey everyone, welcome to week 6, Eat Clean, Get Lean. We're going to investigate a little deeper this week. We're going to talk about some options. It's a little bit of a chilly day here on the East Coast. I'm going to give everybody about a minute or two to log in so everyone can hear what's going to be happening this week. And I'm just saying hello to everybody here. Let me just go back to chat room. Here we go, and I'll just say welcome everybody to week 6. Oops, that's week 7, 67. How about week 6? There we go. Okay, if anybody has any questions or concerns, feel free to type them in the chat box. I can't see a lot of that while I'm working, but we'll always go back to the end at the end and double check. Let me go to slideshow from the beginning. Okay, Eat Clean, Get Lean, week 6. So this week's title is Move to Maintenance and Mental and Physical Wellness. Okay, we've been through the first 4 weeks where we did the eat less, exercise less mode. And then last week I introduced eat more, exercise more. I'm just going to get a little drink, guys. Sorry. Here we go. I just got off work less than an hour ago, ran home, had something to eat. And I had a wonderful dinner. Susan made a delicious meatloaf, and I had a sweet potato and broccoli. And I did have a little bit of salsa with my dinner tonight. So that's that can noise you hear in the background. But we introduced the Eat More, Exercise More model, which hopefully everybody upped their exercise because you probably upped your food. And now this week, we're going to give you some additional options. Some people went back to eat more, exercise more, and they started to gain weight, and they felt like they were overdoing it. So let's go through all the different scenarios tonight. Let's talk this through, and let me answer questions. And if I don't answer something in the process of tonight, or you feel like you didn't get an adequate answer, just shoot me an email or a Facebook message, and we'll go a little bit further. Okay, so let's begin. So again, we had the 3-2-1 dinner plate. That was more the eat less, exercise less mode. And of course, the 3-2-1 was the 3 meals a day. 2 of those were protein shakes and 1 whole food meal. And the EL exercise was the 3 R&R activities, the 2 traditional weight training workouts. I'm going through this quick because we should have, everybody knows this by now. And getting out and walking for an hour. And then, of course, there are the exercises, the shoulder press, the squat, the row, and the bench press or the push-up. And, of course, then we moved into the 3-2-2, which is the eat more, exercise more. So you can see on the plate, the starch or the fat is more substantial than it was in the EL program. Okay, it's because if we're going to increase the amount of food we eat, it's in response to the amount of exercise we're now doing. The 3-2-2, we're doing 3 meals a day. We're trying to go long periods between meals to aid in what we call neuroendocrine immune recovery. So if you have your last meal at, say, 8 o'clock at night, we're trying to get to 8 o'clock the following morning before we have our first meal. So that's 12 hours, okay? Then if you have your first meal, say, at 8 or 9 o'clock, we're trying to space that out till about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And then, of course, we're eating about, 7:30, 8 o'clock at night again. But with the eat more, exercise more model, we also add in protein shakes in addition to the meals. And again, you can add fiber. Now, how do you add fiber? Now, if you're doing the ID nutrition and you're using the shake, it already has plenty of fiber in it. It has the micro milled chia seed, which everyone needs. If you're not using that, then you can, you should be using it, by the way. But if you're not using that, you can add some perfect food from Garden of Life, and that's going to get your greens up a little bit and add a little more fiber. You can also add your own chia seed as well, but it's not going to be micro milled. Do not add any fats or fruits. So that means do not add a half of an avocado or a banana. Those would be 2 no-nos in these protein shakes. Now, remember, our definition of protein is protein plus fiber has to be greater than the amount of carbs plus fat or we don't call it a protein, correct? You can use water, unsweetened almond milk, or coconut milk. Susan's actually using cashew milk these days for her liquid that she puts in there. And then, of course, you can use some easy to digest, different protein or real meal replacement shakes. Obviously, ID Life Nutrition, the shake is the one we advocate the most. But other people are on Vega Sport, Plant Fusion, Hemp Force, and others. So hopefully you'll find one you like. And another two is 2 times starch post-workout. So if you worked out at 4 o'clock and your next meal is going to be at 7:30, we want to double up on the starch at that meal after that aggressive workout. Let's talk a little bit more about the workouts so people get a better understanding where we're coming from on this. You're going to do 3 traditional weight training workouts a week. That's things like the leg press, the chest press, lat pull down, shoulder press, okay? And then the 2 intense interval trainings or metabolic conditioning could be burst training on the excuse me, not on the treadmill, on the elliptical or the bike. Or if you prefer, you can go outside and you can do some interval work there. Or you can do what we call metabolic chains. And that's where you go from one exercise to another with no rest in between. And your goal is to try to get breathless and burning. And with minimal amount of rest. You'll hear us say on the different videos, you go until you can't, you rest until you can. We're not trying to get you to quit. We're trying to force you to rest. And the goal behind that is to burn fat. Now, some people, that's too intense. Again, you should work to your capabilities or your level of conditioning. Okay. And that's why we always advocate coming to someone like me or a personal trainer who can help you achieve your goals, because you don't want to overtrain, but you certainly don't want to undertrain. The most important thing that you're going to get out of this program is that the food drives the program. The exercise is in response to the foods we eat. So don't try to over exercise and under eat. We all know that doesn't work. And again, don't forget 2 days a week, we want to try to get that hour of walking in. Now, some people say, I can't walk for a straight hour. Can I break that up into 4 15-minute segments? The answer is yes. You're to do the best you can. Okay, nothing's perfect. I mean, I got to work at 6 this morning, and I walked back in the house around 7:30ish. So, did I take a 1-hour walk today? No, I took about 65-minute walks as I was training clients. Okay, so you do what you have to do, but I certainly can go out tonight after we're done. So the workouts used in the Eat More, Exercise More, they're faster paced. You'll learn multiple workouts because we have all those on the videos. And the best approach is to try to lose stored body fat and build lean mass. That's what we're doing in the EM model. Now, here's an example of a metabolic chain. So you're starting at the top and you're doing a shoulder press. And then you're going into a squat. And then you're going into a row. And then you go into a push-up. Now, these could be a lateral raise. They could be, excuse me, they could be a high pull. The second one might be a squat. It could be a leg press. It could be a hack squat. It could be leg extension. The third one is a row. It could be a lat pull down. It could be a seated row. And the fourth one on the bottom could be a push-up. It could be a bench press with dumbbells or a barbell or a machine. Okay. And then you go right back to the top. Now, each exercise, what you're trying to do in this particular exercise, you're doing one of each movement the first time down the chain. Then you get to the top and you add 2. And then you finally get all the way up to 5. And then you can start back at 1 again. This is called a metabolic chain, as opposed to doing 8 to 12 repetitions, resting for a minute, moving to the next exercise, doing 8 to 12 repetitions, resting for a minute. That's more of a traditional workout. When you're doing metabolic chain activities, you just keep moving and you never stop. And we got videos on this, so I don't want to kill too much time on this. So we can just, all the different videos allow you to work along with the fitness model and our voiceovers of what they're doing. Okay, so here's where we start to make some changes. You can do a mix of eat more, exercise more, or eat less, exercise less in an entire week. For example, some people have chosen, because they're very active during the week and they like to do aggressive strength training during the week, they're doing an eat more, exercise more Monday through Friday. And then over the weekend, when they're not working out, maybe they're just doing some walking, maybe they're playing some light recreational tennis or golf, or they're walking through libraries and kind of taking it easy. Then they move into more of an eat less, exercise less model. Or some people are sitting at a desk all week long, Monday through Friday, and they're not moving a whole lot. These are your weekend warriors. They go out on the weekends on Saturday and Sunday and they play 6 hours of tennis. They play 36 holes of golf. They get on their bike and they go from here to Cape May and back. They're doing more of an eat more, exercise more on their weekends. Okay. Now, with a lot of these programs, we do build in a cheat meal. It's only on one day only and for one meal only. Okay. Now, let me say this. Our goal is to build up a tolerance so that you can have this cheat meal and it doesn't destroy the whole weekend. For example, on Friday night, you have your cheat meal. That doesn't mean Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, Saturday night, Sunday, all day Sunday is one big cheat weekend. That's not going to work. So in a few minutes, I'll expand on this a little more. If a cheat meal is going to throw you off and cause you to eat irregularly for 24 to 48 hours, you're not ready for it yet. But I'll get more into that in a few minutes. Okay. So what are the barometers that let you know that you're succeeding in what we're trying to accomplish? Well, is your HEC in check? That's an important component, right? Energy, hunger, and cravings. Is the numbers changing on your metabolic effect body shape calculator? Is your chest to waist ratio changing? Is it improving? Is it dropping to a lower number? Or is your waist to hip ratio dropping? Is it going to a lower number? Is your percent body fat going down? Do your clothes fit you differently? Do you feel good, strong, and energized? These are all important barometers to let you know that you're moving in the right direction. So, foods to avoid. We've talked a little bit about this, and there's certain foods that I have not put back into my diet because it does cause me to eat in a manner that is not comfortable for me. So during this process, many foods have been avoided or better yet eliminated. Focus on these, add back in only what does not cause you to get your heck out of check or cause bloating, nausea, constipation, or energy drain. So what are these? Things like wheat and gluten, dairy, corn, soy, refined sugars and starches, hydrogenated and trans fats, alcohol, food chemicals and additives, eggs and or shellfish. Now, eggs are back in my diet. I will have a glass of wine from time to time, but I really have done a good job of eliminating the wheat, the gluten, the dairy, the corn, the soy, and the refined sugars and artificial sweeteners and all that. So my energy is usually pretty good. And I, sorry guys, sorry, it's my fault. I've done a good job at eliminating these things. So I really can feel it. My health is a lot better than it was when I was eating bagels and muffins and that sort of thing. So what else should we watch out for? Well, we've talked about things like combining fat and starch, okay, and how that can really cause a problem. I think last week we talked about fat and sugar and salt being a problem, and that's your typical donut, pizza, that sort of thing. And yes, there is sugar in pizza. They put it's in the red sauce, the spaghetti sauce they put on it, the pasta sauce. And, there is salt in donuts because they add salt to all baked goods. So when fat and starch are combined, they decrease something called hormone-sensitive lipase, which is a fat-burning enzyme. And they increase lipoprotein lipase, which is a fat-storing enzyme. So remember, in our genetic history, there were times, excuse me, when no food was available. So these enzymes saved us from starvation. That's why carbs and fats are so attractive to us. So if you are gaining weight, you got to watch out when you start combining fats and starches. And we are allowing you in the eat more, exercise more model to combine fats and starches, like putting a little olive oil on a sweet potato, or having some oil and vinegar in your salad and having some brown rice. But again, go back to your barometers when you start doing these kind of things. Let me go back a little bit here. Okay. If you start adding too much fat and starch to your diet and your HEC goes out of check, well, that's a problem. Or if you start putting on weight and your metabolic effect body shape calculators start showing you an increasing waist to hip ratio and an increased chest to waist ratio, the numbers are going up, your percent body fat starts going up, the clothes that used to fit you don't fit you anymore, and you don't have good energy. These are things telling you that you're going in the wrong direction. So you're the best barometer. We've said that time and time again. So look at these things and identify. And you notice I didn't say anything about the scale in any of this. Okay, because scale doesn't tell you. These things will tell you whether you're moving in the right direction or not. All right. So even in maintenance, remember to watch your hunger level, your energy levels, and your cravings. If you can't control cravings anymore, you need to modify the approach you have taken. If you're taking the wrong approach, your HEC will get out of check. One place where you can easily fall off the rail is when you start eating highly palatable foods again. Okay, so most of us have the experience of going along just fine with our diet, exercise, and healthy lifestyle. Then we decide to indulge a little bit with food we love, like pizza. And as soon as we do this, it's as if we've been taken over by some evil demon that is forcing us to eat everything in sight. Pizza is a huge trigger food. Okay, it has sugar, it has salt, it has starch. Okay, and then you add some refined pepperoni or salami or any kind of processed meats. It's really not a health food. It's actually a diet destroyer. And when we talk about pizza in our house, we don't eat it as a meal. My kids eat it like a snack because I don't want them eating a whole pizza and that's it. They have no green food. There's no healthy vitamins and minerals. The protein that usually goes with it is usually fairly poor. So don't treat pizza as a meal. Treat it like a snack, and only if you can eat it and it doesn't throw your HEC out of check. So what do we say about having that couple slices of pizza? All of a sudden, our cheat meal turns into a cheat week. Why? There is an emerging understanding in research, mostly on animals, but being quickly confirmed in humans, that certain foods not only lead us to overeat at the current meal, but cause cravings for more of those highly enjoyable foods later. Some have described this as being food addicted, and the research is showing that that is not that far from the truth. So be aware of the negative spiral. Choose your food. Which foods on our watch list, especially at this stage when you might feel like the heavy lifting of weight loss is over? Foods high in the combination of any of the following. So there you go, your salt, fat, sugar, and starch. And that's pizza, that's donuts, that's eggplant parmesan, that's lasagna, ravioli, monogut. Okay, these are the things you gotta watch out for. So combining both fat and sugar, like donuts or sugar and salt, are most concerning. Sorry guys, I'm in the office and of course the phone's ringing. I just had to hang it up. One of the dangers of recording next to your phone. Okay, so what are some of the other foods? Bagels and cream cheese, pizza, bread and butter. Okay, these foods may seem to be the only thing that will satisfy a craving or crush your hunger in the short run, but they typically end with you craving more of those same foods later. This is why you want to do your best to avoid them if possible. Eating some of these foods can make certain people end up in a negative spiral of craving and high amounts of food intake and weight regain. It also seems there may be a genetic component to this, so please pay close attention to your individual reactions to these foods when choosing your cheat meal. If your cheat meal turns into cheat week, then you will quickly know what the deal is and you'll need to dial things back. Remember, the best way to understand an unbalanced metabolism recover is to revert back to either a full 3-2-1 or 3-2-2 approach. So get off the half of the week, the eat more, exercise more, half the week eat more, eat less, exercise less. Go back to one and stick with it. Now, I will tell you unequivocally, with most of the people we work with, if they go back to a 3-2-1, which is an eat less, exercise less model, they do much better than if they try to do an eat more, exercise more model. There's something about the walking 7 days a week, the 2 heavy workouts in the 3-2-1, okay, 3 workouts. I'm sorry, scratch that. 2 of your 3 rest and relaxation activities, 2 heavy workouts, and the 1 hour of walking. I had to get that straight. Sorry, and the 2 shakes for breakfast and lunch, and the whole food meal for dinner. They tend to be able to get their heck back in check a whole lot faster than trying to force the heavy workouts and more food. I think the food really throws people off. So I would say if you're deciding what to do, jump back into a 3-2-1. Now, at this point, let me mention this. We have 2 products in ID Life that have helped me tremendously with this whole process, okay? One of them is a product called Lean. People are looking at this as a fat burner. That's not really what it's designed to do. It's really designed to act like it's a method of controlling your cravings for sugar. It helps to decrease the cravings for sugar. So we also have something called Appetite Chews or Appetite Control Chews, okay? And they use something called Avantra Z. And again, it helps to calm down your sugar cravings on the spot. So think of an appetite chew as a quick, kind of like what people who have asthma, they need that quick rescue inhaler. Okay, that's an appetite chew. But the pill or the medication that some people take who have asthma, that's supposed to last like for 6 to 8 hours. That's like Lean. Okay, so I use them both. When I feel like, man, I got to have something, I need it right here, right now, and Appetite Chew is what I go to. That's my go-to. But I use Lean usually before lunch or before my first workout of the day, and then I try to take it before dinner. Okay, it's not a real strong stimulant. It's not going to keep you up at night. If you have any questions, I want you to call me on this, and I can have you take a sample of this so that you know what this is all about. But those are the things that I use, and they work better than anything I've ever used before. So if you're having issues, let's talk about it. The heck check. Like at every phase, you have to adjust and tweak if something is going wrong and you're not burning fat, or worse, you're gaining weight. If this is the case at this phase, go back to the 3-2-1 or the 3-2-2. We just talked about that. Do not try to eat less and exercise more for long. It'll make things worse. Avoid foods that combine starch and sugar and fat, perhaps even healthy versions. So a lot of people say, but I'm on this program and it's low fat lasagna. No, that's not something that's going to help you with your hunger, energy, and cravings. Modify your carbohydrate intake downward. So cut out the starchy carbs at breakfast and lunch, but stay with the fibrous carbs, things like broccoli, cauliflower, spinach, kale, asparagus, Brussels sprouts. Okay, these are things that increase fiber, not sugar. And modify your fat intake downward as well. People are like, but what about avocado? It's still a fat. What about a little bit of peanut butter on bread? No, that's fat and starch. Don't do that. Remember, focus on diet inputs, not exercise. Compensating with exercise will make things worse, and is never the best approach to balance the metabolism. Food is. If a slight decrease in carbs or fat doesn't work, then knock off a little bit more. The key to success is keeping your heck in check and knowing your tolerance for the individual foods that cause your issues if they're overdone. Okay, with a cheat meal, it could be a Friday night out with drinks or with friends, a Saturday afternoon pizza or a burger while watching the game, or a Sunday pancake brunch with the girls, right? On Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night, we want you to eat what you want. That's where the cheat meal comes into play. But what does this mean specifically? Well, it means different things for all of us. But the easiest way to think about it is just to eat 100% freely without limitations at one of these 3 meals during the weekend. You may also find this one time is more than adequate and any more causes you to slip back. Or you might find you can easily do 3 meals in this fashion and notice great results. Limit the meal to a 2-hour time frame and keep yourself from eating continuously all day. So this is like I'm going out with my friends, I'm going to eat and that's it. Or I'm going to a wedding or I'm going to a party, okay? It's not all day Saturday. It's a cheat meal. Again, let me reiterate, we're presenting this information, but if you're not ready to hear this now, don't do it. Okay? I'm talking to a lot of people out there. I'm not one who really does well with cheat meals. I'd rather just focus on eating healthy and maybe adding a little bit of fat and starch to a meal. Like actually tonight, I could have easily put something else on my potato. I used mustard because I like it. You know, I had plain broccoli. Actually, broccoli probably had some garlic powder, a little bit of salt, a little pepper on it. And I use a spice called turmeric, which, by the way, is really great for inflammation. But you need to take black pepper, black pepper. We're going to blow the place up with some black powder. Black pepper with your turmeric. And you need both because black pepper releases turmeric's anti-inflammatory effect. Little tidbit there. Okay. So let's move on. Okay, in our experience, we've noticed that people prefer to be looking to do something than actually doing something. So don't be a diet flipper. Stick with something that's working for you consistently. Everyone's looking for the next best thing. So translation, oftentimes, even if we find something that works, we still find the need to seek out something else. Maintenance is a process that needs to be practiced and mastered over time, rather than a protocol is followed for a short while and then abandoned for something else. Stick with an eat less, exercise less model. It will serve you well. If you can do the eat more, exercise more, that's great. But I'm telling you, from a physical therapy model and from a personal training model, I know people who have lost the ability to exercise very aggressively. So an eat more, exercise more model may not work for them because they just can't accommodate that level of exercise anymore. People have had total knees, total hips, chronic back pain. I can't physically exercise as hard as I used to. I've had herniated discs in my back and I've had an ACL reconstruction. So as much as I'd like to climb under 300 pounds and start squatting again, that's not going to happen. If I was to do a step up, step down off a bench and a plyometric jump, my knee would probably start to swell. So you need to identify what works best for you. Okay? Does everybody hear me on that? I really want to make that point. If trying to exercise at a highly aggressive level is going to hurt you, don't do it. And don't do it because you say, well, I'm going into an EM because that's what Mike told me. No, you need to be the barometer. I mean, this is where the coaching comes in. This is where we need to sit down and talk if we have to help you identify what works best for you. Okay. So the diet is way of thinking of it, not the diet detectives. That's why we're talking about this. You will need to guard against this dieter's mentality and maintenance. The path to mastery comes through practicing what you know again and again and avoiding the natural human tendency to try to find something else. Think of it like learning to play an instrument or learning a new language. You continue to practice over and over again. You just don't learn to play the violin in one day and then put it down. You keep at it. Maintenance is an ongoing journey. The behaviors, the heck and check, and staying on track and balance, all of this needs to be reinforced over and over and over so it becomes a habit. A lot of what we've talked about is biochemical, but there's a huge behavioral component as well. If EL is working for you, stay with it, but please incorporate one cheat meal with a 2-hour time limit per week minimum, okay? Unless you can't. Unless a cheat meal is going to cause you to eat inappropriately the entire weekend, don't sweat it, okay? Just eat healthy foods that are going to satisfy you. But if you can do it. There's some advantages to it. Increasing your leptin level or normalizing your leptin level is why a lot of us do a cheat meal over the weekend. Okay. Cheat meal, by the way, doesn't mean I go from having uh, seltzer to drinking 2 bottles of wine. Yeah, that's not a cheat meal. That's silly. It's not very bright. Okay. A glass of wine. Okay. Don't start saying I'm going to do a 6 pack of Coors Light. That's a foolish meal, not a cheat meal. If you can do EL during the week and EM on weekends, please do so, or vice versa. Monitor your HEC and body shape. Use AIM to determine the course of action needed to have optimal health and wellness. Guys, that's it tonight. Let me jump off of the PowerPoint. Open up my page here. Go up. I'm in the chat room again. Wow, I'm doing good. It's 8:33, and I promised everyone this time around that I was going to do 30-minute segments. So it looks like I've been accomplishing that. 30 minutes, almost on the nose. Guys, if there are any questions, please type them into the chat box. If you don't have any questions tonight and you do have questions tomorrow, you certainly can you can get in touch with me, and I will answer those questions on Facebook. Some of you, I'll be seeking you out to answer your questions. I want everybody to have a great night. I've been up since 6. I'm going to bed. So take care, and we'll see you out there on Facebook, or again, you can always drop me an email. Have a great night. Bye-bye.